All right, let's talk technology. This is probably one of my favorite topics just because there's been such an evolution over the last decade of what types of mortgage technologies exist for loan officers. Before, it really was just CRMs and LOSs, and then with the advent of the POSs, there's a lot of different movement in this space, and it's been very fragmented and it needed disruption, so it was good that they came in. But the challenge that now exists is there's breaks in consumer experience. So if you're using a POS like a Blend, amazing for consumer direct, amazing for getting a complete loan file, from user experience, not the best. If you're using a Flowify, great for task management, same problem with respect to user experience. Simple Nexus, great for the realtor. So for your referral partner, great tool for them. It puts them first, but from an LO perspective and from a consumer perspective, it's a little disjointed. And I think the challenge is when you're looking at POSs, they're really focusing just on application to funding. And when I look at the sales cycle that exists, I'm thinking of three that we're trying to capture for, and because the technology doesn't exist, we have to build for. You have your nurture in process, everything that happens before somebody does an application. The question I would ask you is, do you have a tool that creates stickiness early on, right? That could be everything from home search, home buyer education, for our proprietary tools, Home Funded, which allows you to crowdfund a down payment and or shop. But do you have a tool or system that will reach out and engage somebody with a certain level of stickiness, engagement, and retention a year in advance of doing the application? Because that doesn't exist and those tools are also fragmented, we wanted to bring that together. And then we want to jump it directly into the application experience. And after the loan has funded, we want to move them into the post-closing customer for life experience. On the two ends of those experiences, we want to have something that drives the individual and is extremely engaging, so they want to keep coming back for more. So if you think through on social media when you check it to see what pops up, those are the types of tools that we're looking to build there, especially on the nurture side and primarily on the servicing customer loan side. When it comes to the process of application of funding, we want to put horse blinders on. We want to have that individual focus just on the individual tasks that need to happen. Apply, upload documents, track your loan, get approved, and get closed. So we've intentionally structured our experience to account for those three areas, and those are going to be what we're building into the future state. When we look at companies that have focused on the latter stage, you have your HomeBots, your Home IQs, and so forth, and really what they're using is they're just using AVM data and guessing at what people could do, right? They're using market data like bankrate.com to guess at what the current market rate is. And I think the challenge that I have for that is we're allowing these companies to make educated guesses, communicate to our customers with incorrect data. So for me, that is a problem. And that's really the reason why we decided to build an experience that accounts for those three segments of experience. One, on the nurture side, we already have tools and platforms like Home Funded that will engage individuals. When we get to the application to funding section, we have a 1003 where in many cases, you don't even need to put your social security number, and we do a lot of pre-fill. So if you think about your VOIEs, we're creating a waterfall with every single VOIE provider. So that way, from our perspective, you have a very complete file, and by doing the pre-fill, we're making it easy for the customer to complete the application in less steps with less documentation. And again, pizza tracker, we got to make sure that they can see where they're at. We are building a realtor experience as well too, so they can follow along with the customer at all three segments of those experiences. Now, once it gets into funding, this is where we're a little bit different. We're going to use more than just AVM data. When somebody is a customer with us, we want to make sure we're using credit data as well. Because if you have a 4% interest rate and today's rate is a 5.5, but you have $40,000 in revolving debt, I'm pretty sure I can sell you a cash out refinance. Now, if you have great credit, you're probably going to elect to do a HELOC, which for us, CMG has 3 different HELOC options. If you don't have great credit, a debt consolidation cash out is still a great option for you because one, it positions you to save money today, and it helps boost your credit on any additional financing needs in the future. So from my perspective, positioning you, the loan officer, to have credit data with AVM data allows to give you accurate offers. And that's what was the genesis of our opportunity pipeline. Inside of our opportunity pipeline, we bring together the ability to have a pricing engine, which we custom built, credit data, and AVM data to start going ahead and giving a range of different opportunities. That will be everything from whether they qualify for a HELOC, a reverse mortgage, a rate and term refinance, MI removal, debt consolidation, or just general cash out, which again, pretty much every AVM tool does today. So from my perspective, that gives you the ability to have deep insights into your data, because if you're just looking at your database today, and this would be my challenge to you, go look in your CRM. How do you know which people with low rates that you should be reaching out to? It's a tough question to answer, and that's one of the ones we've wanted to be able to solve for our loan officers. In addition to using credit data, we're using other data that signals. MLS triggers. Did they just list the property? If so, wouldn't you love to be the person that goes ahead and reaches out to your agent to validate and maybe offer list and lock? Are they shopping for other properties? We work with a variety of different data vendors to go ahead and find out, has your customer been visiting Redfin, Realtor.com, or Zillow on a regular basis? And we're using that data to cue you to reach out prior to the MLS alert. Because again, an MLS alert tells us they're selling the property. What if they're buying a second property? How do you get in front of that? Those are the data signals we're trying to surface. Now, in addition to giving you that deep access to data, we don't want to burden you. Again, if you've heard me talk about our marketing, we want things to be automated. So we've built the ability for you to go in and select, hey, for this trigger, for debt consolidation, let's offer all my offers at 1.5 points. For my rate and term refinances, let's do it all at a 0.5 point. For my cash outs, let's do 1 point. You actually get to select what type of automated offers you want to do, and you can opt your entire database into that. Now, I don't know when you're actually watching this video, but if it's after Q1 of 2025, this next section should get you very excited. And if it's right before then, you should also be excited. Everything that we're doing in the opportunity pipeline for our servicing customers, we're creating an ingestion funnel so we can bring in all of your past clients for you at another mortgage company. The challenge you likely have at your mortgage company is you probably only have basic follow-up solicitations. And in many cases, you may have your transactions sold the servicing rights and you're not allowed to follow up on them, meaning that there is no corporate support for you to follow up with your contacts to grow your business and to follow up with them to get new business. If you come to CMG, you would have the ability to leverage our opportunity pipeline with all of your past contacts on deals you funded. Essentially what we would do is we would enrich the data that you have with credit data, meaning that we would take all of your past transactions that you've done, and we first filter it through First American, which we've got data back to 2019, then we would filter it through credit, and then I would use our system, all the data algorithms that we've already built, and all of the signals we've already built, and all the automations we've already built to bring your data in and go ahead and recreate the opportunity pipeline for you to use. Now, as a disclaimer and a disclosure requirement, we do have to automatically deliver a firm offer of credit after each time we do a credit update, which is once a quarter. But again, that's a small price to pay, considering that we'll be able to go ahead and do all that personalized outreach, giving you opportunities to close transactions where they may have high revolving debt, their MI have fallen off, they now qualify for reverse mortgage. So again, that for me is one of the big things we've been leaning towards with the opportunity pipeline, is being able to not just use our data, but to use your data to help grow business. All right, now when we dive into the technology, let's talk about a couple of different things. We'll talk about LOS, we'll talk about document management, because even if you're on Encompass, it's hilarious because everything's disjointed, depending whether you're using a Capsulon system for document management, or you're using your own, or you have a file share, or you have a Dropbox. But it's unfortunate that many mortgage companies require or have, we'll call it, environments where loan officers feel that they have to develop all their own tools to do this document collection. So I'm going to walk through some of the stuff that we have. From an LOS perspective, we use Byte. The reason we use Byte over an Encompass or Empower is we want to keep it as significantly small as humanly possible, because we don't want a lot of people working in there, and Byte is probably the most highly configurable LOS. We can build whatever we want into it, which allows us to do a lot of fun custom products, especially like borrower and lender paid buy downs, which don't exist at a lot of mortgage companies, various versions of construction to perm, first lien HELOCs like the all-in-one loan, things like that that would be a burden on most LOSs, we can self-configure inside of Byte. Now, we don't want you to live there, the place that you should be living is inside of Clear. Now, what we did is we took the same approach that many POSs did, which was we want to give a web environment for LOs to work in. If you've used Blend or Flowify or Roostify or SimpleNexus, you've seen that. Now, the challenge is there's not LOS parity. That has been our focus, making sure that you can work inside of that POS with every feature and function needed that is required in the LOS, meaning you never need to go into the LOS. And because it's our custom application, we can do additional things like bring data in from your servicing data for an opportunity pipeline, import data from prior lives for the opportunity pipeline, and it's one single pane of glass that you can see not just your current loans in process, but your leads, your loans, your past customers, and you can work them across the board, and we can build different experiences for you to help make you more efficient and grow your business. Within Clear, we have certain things like dual AUS, where you can run automatically dual AUS. We have a quick action, where you can go ahead and do functions on the loan with the main screen staying open, so you don't always have to change screens. That same quick action can be available from the pipeline screen. Within the pipeline, you can set it to do whatever you want it to do. We've built the pipeline in a way when we bring data in, you can use that as filtering, as column headers, or whatever you want. So it's a really quick drag and drop, and you set it. The reason that is an advantage for me is it allows you to go ahead and manage your business, meaning that you can have a pipeline that tracks all of your locks that are about to expire, all your deals that are about to close, all of your files that recently got documents in, or you could track your partner relationships, which means that if you have a significant partner relationship that you always want to have up, you can look at that partner relationship with whatever order of attributes that you want that help you manage that business and communicate to that partner. So again, these are some of the things that we're thinking about. By having our own POS that we develop, this gives us an opportunity to do things in the future, like integrate Vidyard, where you can do a screen recording directly from there. When we look at our OB integration, today inside of OB, you only can select one loan product at a time, or fixed or ARM, right? In our system, you have the ability to do a range of those different options and see them all at one time without going back and forth. So these are some of the things that we're able to build in our system. With self-disclosure, we give you the ability to self-disclose, allowing you to go fast, which is important when rates are moving and or you're doing a refinance on a transaction and you want to go ahead and order that appraisal, so you need to disclose prior to doing so. So again, what we look at is we see changes in the market and we build our application to account for those changes. All right, so going into document management, going a little bit deeper. This, from what I've heard from many loan officers, is not consistent in a lot of different companies. Essentially, you request documents by email or through the POS. You get them, you store them on a shared folder or a Dropbox account, and then you go through the long, arduous process of reviewing those documents before submission and uploading them. So we wanted to solve for that. One, it's inefficient, and two, it's just cumbersome for you to go through that process and for your LOAs and support people to go through that process. So the way that we attacked it is we looked at it at the very point of request. Can we build a system that reaches out to a consumer, tells them what documents that are needed, they upload those documents, and from your perspective, you don't have to follow up and go back and forth, meaning that you can request those documents one time, set automatic reminders, and the customer is reminded to go into the portal and upload documents till all the documents are uploaded. So if they upload 3 of 5, they'll get a reminder to upload the other 2 based on parameters that you set. Now, once those documents come in, you're going to get a flag when you open up the document section that says, hey, you or your production assistant have files to review, and they stay in an unreviewed state. Once you go through them, you can certify them as done, so for your own peace of mind, you know that they have moved into a reviewed state, but they don't exist inside the LOS yet. We have what we call a left side and right side. The left side is the draft area, while the right side lives within the LOS. So this gives you an opportunity to review the documents, go through the documents, and determine when you're ready to submit to underwriting, what documents you want to move over. So by doing it through this process, we've eliminated one, the headache of trying to chase down documents that could have been emailed to you, could have been faxed to you, God forbid, or came in through a variety of sources, and you don't have to go into your Outlook to search or have your team search. They all come into one area. And two, instead of going ahead and storing them in one place and then going through the process of uploading them one by one and indexing them, they're already indexed for you and they're already uploaded. Once you're ready, you select the documents you want, right-click and hit Send to LOS, and you're done. So what we want to do is we want to look at the things that are inefficient that you or your team may have to do, and just remove them and come up with a better solution. Hopefully you're seeing how we're using technology to enable you to do more. But if you have any additional questions, please reach out. Thank you for taking the time to listen and kind of hear what our approach is. We truly are striving to make a better experience for our loan officers, and we look forward to working with you.